but you guys are used to that by now. You should be. All right, for those of you on Clubhouse, we're getting ready to go live on Facebook at Official Glenn Lundy. If you want to see the full production, at Official Glenn Lundy over on Facebook, you can go and check. My goodness, my goodness, my goodness. What a start. Oh my gosh, that mic is loud. Sorry about that, Facebook folks. Wow, you're like, okay, Glenn, good morning. Gosh, golly, we are up. So check it out. Got up this morning. I had my sleep cycle really disrupted by one of my little kiddos. They woke me up at 2:45, and I knew better. I'm like, dude, just get up. You're supposed to get up at 3:20 a.m. anyway. What's 2:45? What's 3:20? What's the difference? I didn't, though. I didn't get out of bed like I should have. Got everything a little bit disrupted. And so I was super excited when I got downstairs this morning and opened my hashtag Rise and Grind planner so that I could write down my gratitude, which you should be doing every single day. You need a powerful, solid morning routine. And so I opened my hashtag Rise and Grind planner, and there was a quote by my man, Anthony Alagona. And the quote said this: consciously create your habits, because your habits unconsciously create your reality. I'm going to say that one more time. Consciously create your habits, because your habits unconsciously create your reality. So it was like perfect, because I had thrown, like, everything was thrown off, right? Meredith came in and she was like telling me to go get her a glass of water at 2:45 in the morning. She was fighting with her sister in the bed, like kicking her sister, right? And I'm like thrown off, right? So then I go back to sleep past my alarm, wake up a few minutes late, wake up like 20 minutes late. And I sat up and I'm in a rush and I'm panicked and I'm freaked out because everything takes a certain amount of time in the morning. And then I took six deep breaths, which, by the way, 6 deep breaths will change your life. Right? Took 6 deep breaths to get present. Went downstairs and followed my habits, my routines, my disciplines. I wrote down my gratitude. I wrote down my goals. I was able to regroup, and it's almost like time slowed down because I was sticking to the habits and the disciplines that I've created that I know serve me well. So when I read that quote, I thought, great job, Glenn Lundy. Way to not let the morning throw you off this Monday. So Anthony Algona, I appreciate that quote. Consciously create your habits, because your habits unconsciously create your reality. Great quote. Let's dive in today's episode of hashtag Rise and Grind. Good morning. How are you, my friend? See, there's no excuse for you not pushing yourself to the next level. In order for you to create a new you must have a new mindset. When teams come together, we can create things that are greater than the sum of all of their parts.
Good morning and welcome to hashtag Rise and Grind. I am your host, Glenn Lundy. I am a husband to 1, a father
to 8.
and the creator of what is going to be the #1 most watched morning show in the world. It is 5:30 a.m. and I hope that you are ready to rise and grind.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. How are you, my friend? How are you, my friend? Dude, today is Monday. That's right. Today is Monday, May 10th, 2021. And what's crazy is today is the very first and the very last time it'll ever be Monday, May 10th, 2021. So I want to make sure we make the absolute most, and I do mean the absolute most of this absolutely incredible, incredible day. Fair enough? Absolutely incredible, incredible day. Listen, I hope you had a great weekend. I do. I hope you had a great weekend. As a matter of fact, how was your weekend? If you're watching over on Facebook, go ahead and drop it in the comments. I'd love to see how your weekend was, some of the things that you went on to do. But I hope that you had a phenomenal weekend. All right. Our weekend at the Lundy house. If you don't know me, my name is Glenn Lundy. I have 8 children, 7 of which are age 11 and under, and we live on 10 acres out in Kentucky, and we've got 10 acres of land. We got a pond in the back. It's really, really beautiful. And so my weekend started with my wife having me do what I call, it's not really a drug deal, but I call them a drug deal. So my wife just says, take some money, go to this place, pick up the package, right? That's what she says. Take some money, go to the place, pick up the package. I'm like, yes, ma'am. I don't look in the package. I'm like the transporter. I don't look in the package. I'm not curious about what's in the package. I don't want to know what's in the package. But in this particular case, she told me, go to this address, go to this place. You're going to pick up some cookies. She told me it was cookies. I'm like, all right. So I go over and this lady hands me 5 dozen cookies that we pay $100 for. I was like, $100 for a 5 dozen cookies. What is in these things? Just kidding. Nothing in them other than some sugar and some sweets. But apparently they're pretty good. Rudabakers. And I had one and it was delicious. And so we started off the weekend with some Rudabakers cookies, some $2 cookies, right? And then, of course, this was Mother's Day weekend. So this is Mama's chance to kind of relax and so on and so forth. Do whatever she chooses to do, which, by the way, she did not choose to relax. Instead, she chose to build a bench. She chose to rearrange everything in the kitchen. Relax is not in my wife's deal, right? It's just not there. And so lots of time to spend with the kids and with my wife, so on and so forth. It was Mother's Day weekend. So we invited a couple of the neighbor kids to go ahead and have a sleepover. My sons went to their grandma's house for the weekend. And so we had basically girls' night at my house, right? All girls. My boys were gone and they had a sleepover. And trust me, when you have a lot of kids, I know it sounds crazy to add a couple more. Having those sleepovers, though, it really helps. It helps. So parenting tip, if your house is getting a little wild, a little crazy, invite some of their friends over. I know it sounds crazy, but they keep each other busy, right? They keep each other busy. It's great. So we had the sleepover and all the kids went out and swam in the pond. We have a 2-acre pond filled with fish and bass and bluegill and turtles and all of that stuff. And so the kids went and swam out in the pond on a warm weekend, not like hot, but a warm weekend, which was super, super nice. And then yesterday, the craziest thing on Mother's Day, I was on my way back from taking the kids to church. And on my way back, all of a sudden, there was this herd of cattle. There were 8 cows walking down the street, right? They're walking down the street. They crossed the street, right in front of my van where I had the kids in the van. They went hiding out into the trees and the woods. And so I went and jumped. It's crazy even just thinking about it. I went and jumped on my daughter's 4-wheeler, a pink spiderweb covered 4-wheeler. And I took off over to this 10 acres across the street from our house because I could see where the cows were going. And there was a bunch of other farmers and stuff that were on the street. They were trying to figure out whose cows these were. Whose cows are these, right? And so we're all trying to figure it out. These cows got caught up in this brush over in the back, so I tracked them down there. I'm like, here they are, right? And so we devised this whole plan. All these farmers came, and we had this plan that we were going to scoot the cows down. We took the fence out. They were going to go through this fence line. They were going to go over and then up into the cattle cage. And that's how we were going to get these 8 cows that were roaming around our neighborhood in a herd. And so my son Joel came and joined me, and we were like chasing these cows down through the thing, and all of a sudden they turned around, they came running back at us, and we were like, whoa, like crazy, right? I'm like, what am I doing out here? This is nuts. And so they came running at us, and all of a sudden they went the wrong way and they shot out, and then it started raining and storming, and here I was on this quad, this tiny pink kid's 4-wheeler, and I'm chasing down 8 cows all over the neighborhood with another guy who's in this big old Polaris, and we like chase him, and the rain's pelting my face. I'm absolutely soaked, like I felt like I jumped into a swimming pool, and I'm blocking them off, and they're coming running at me. I'm like, yeah, get out of here, right? Like I'm some type of cowboy. I'm like, where's this coming from? And so I chase him one way, and he traps him another way, and we get him over to a creek, and then we have to push him up into a creek and over the other side of the creek, and we finally get them all the way back over to where they belonged, and it was insane. You should have seen your boy Glenn Lundy on a pink 4-wheeler chasing cattle for about an hour and a half in a pouring rainstorm, sideways, getting pelted. It was insanity. And golly, I felt alive. Woo! I felt alive. You want to talk? I was like, wow, I could do this part of the cowboy thing. I don't want to be a farmer. I don't want to get my hands dirty. I don't want to do any of that stuff. But this part was kind of fun. I must say it was kind of fun and kind of crazy at the same time. And then, of course, the family came over and we grilled steaks and we grilled salmon and we made artichoke and we made sweet potatoes and we celebrated my mother and my mother-in-law, and we celebrated my wife being mother of a lot of babies. And so that was what our weekend looked like. And while we were out at the pond, I just really was looking at the whole situation. I was looking at where we lived and being out in the country, and I was looking at each of my kids, and I was especially looking at Meredith. So Meredith is my blonde-haired, blue-eyed child, okay? I am brown-skinned. My father is black. My mother is white. They call me an Oreo. That's what they call me. They call me an Oreo. And my wife is white. And this little girl, Meredith, came out with blonde hair, and she's got these, I said blue eyes. They're like sea green, bluish green eyes. They're absolutely beautiful. She's a beautiful, beautiful little girl. And so I was looking at my kids, and I was looking at the diversity of where we live, how I'm a city guy, and I like to travel the world in stages, and my wife is a country girl. She likes being where we're at, and so on and so forth. And I thought, so different. And that's what's so beautiful. It's so different. But that blend of my wife and her country and me and my city, that blend of my ethnicity and my wife's ethnicity, that blend of how these kids are growing up in these different environments and thought patterns and so on and so forth, that blend is so absolutely beautiful. And it just happened to tie in with this week's series. We're doing a series this week called Oreo. And we're going to talk about our differences, our cultural differences. We're going to take a look at them. We're going to talk about them. And my hope is that by the end of this series, if not sooner, but my hope is that by the end of today's episode and by the end of this series, that you too will see what I see, which is the beauty in the blended. Before we go too far, though, you know what we got to do on this show? We got to dance, my friends. We've got to dance. That's right. Let's go. For those of you that know, and those of you that don't know, this is the part of the show. Come on, we got to get that body in motion. Listen, an object in motion stays in motion. An object at rest stays at rest. Now is not the time for you to stay at rest. It's Monday morning. Time for you to get this object in motion. Let's go. If you're running, run faster. If you're lifting, lift harder. If you're walking, pick up the pace. If you're laying in bed, get your rear end up. It's time. Let's go. Let's get that body in motion. Let's do this. Do some dancing. I don't care where you're at. If you're over there in London, you're over in the UK, you're over there shopping, you're at the shopping mall, maybe you're walking down the street, just dance. Come on, let it out. Dance like nobody's watching. It'll change your world. This is also the part of the show where I want to say good morning to you and I want you to say good morning to me. Now, whether you're watching live or you're watching on replay, maybe you're watching on YouTube, maybe you're catching the podcast, whatever it is for you, I want you to connect with me. This is all about connection, right? It's all about connection. So hit me up, send me a message, pop a review, any of those things, all right? And I'll say good morning to you, you say good morning to me. Over on Instagram, I see Full Around the World. I see Needles19. I see Stephanie Paisley Henry is up in the house. Appreciate you, Stephanie. I see April Johnson, the brand, is up in here. Over on Facebook, I see Andy Pratt, Sean Weatherby. I see Shauna Phillips and Leisha Watts. I see Will Ramsey and Bettina O'Neill. I see Don Stanky in the house. What's up, Lane Simmons? How you doing? Spencer Nicholson, Melvin Rodriguez. What up? What up? What up? Hey, what's up, Justin Haskell? Great to see you as well. Hey, all of you on Facebook, make sure you say good morning. Every single one of you. There's a lot of you. What's up, Michael Guthrie? There's a lot of you on there. Make sure you say good morning. Over on Clubhouse, I see Brielle is in the house this morning. Oh, my goodness. Emily Lyons is with us today. Uh-oh. Monday's popping off. We got Emily Lyons. We got Liza with 2 Z's in the house. We got my man David up in here. We got Bo Hopkins. What's up, Bo? Bo's in here with us over on Clubhouse too. The Blind Master. My man Trey Lowe is in the house. What's up, Trey Lowe? I'm so glad you're here. I see Robert and Roy and Taylor and Ryan. I see Debbie and Gregory and Regina and Shay. I see Jay Sell and Sue and Aaron and Mike. I see Melissa and Pam and Tyson and Jean Paul. Gigi, is today the day, Jean Paul? Is today the day that everything changes? I think it might be. What's up, Kim Fair? Great to see you as well. I see Regina Carey is in the house. Tina Bacon, Wes Storm, JB Beasley. Hey, I see some new faces. I want you to know, welcome to the Rise and Grind ecosystem. We're so glad you're here. One of the things that you're going to want to do is go to themorning5.com. You're going to have about a minute here where we do a little segue video. Go to themorning5.com. Download my free ebook. Gives you 5 simple steps to an extraordinary life. It'll help you change the way you start your day. Change the way you start your day. Make a massive impact in your life. All right? Go check it out. Themorning5.com. Free download. Free. Take you less than an hour to read it. And it'll give you 5 simple steps. I promise you that'll be super, super impactful. All right? Go check that out. Themorning5.com. And let's dive in.
Woo! He made everything. He made you to be the best version of yourself. And you're already.
I was listening to the song, thinking about Breakfast with Champions, thinking about Instagram, thinking about Rise and Grind, thinking about how much time I have left. 6 deep breaths. Let's dive into today's episode of hashtag Rise and Grind. So I grew up in a place called Flagstaff, Arizona. If you don't know anything about Flagstaff, it's up there close to the Grand Canyon. The Grand Canyon was basically my backyard. The Grand Canyon and Sedona. right? Sedona was super close, Sedona, Arizona. If you've never heard of or been to Sedona, it's like the alien capital of the world. It's got all these red rocks and beautiful canyons, an absolutely beautiful place. And so I had Sedona over on one side, I had the Grand Canyon on the other side, and you have this place called Flagstaff, Arizona in the middle. And Flagstaff, Arizona is right on Route 66. It's a very touristy town, being in between Sedona and Grand Canyon, as you could, I'm sure, assume. It's a very touristy town, lots of hotels, and then the famous Route 66 running right through the middle of it. And so I grew up there in these apartments. They were called Greenlaw Garden Apartments, located at 2600 East 7th Avenue. That's where I grew up from age 11 forward. Now, prior to that, my mom and my dad were married, and we lived in different places, with my dad being in the Army. My dad was, he was in the military, he was in the Army for a long time. And so we traveled kind of all over the place, but we landed in Flagstaff. We lived on one side of town, and then ultimately my parents got divorced. And once my parents got divorced at age 11, that's when the really interesting aspects of my life started to kick in. So a couple things that you need to know is that my mom is white. She is a white woman from Virginia, country singing white lady. Okay, that's my mom. My dad, on the other hand, is black. And when I say black, I mean deep, like almost some people call him purple black. Like he was deep black. And he came from Dade City, Florida, where he grew up, the youngest of 13, sleeping on the floors with rats and roaches in a tiny little shack out in the swamp. All right. So dad, black, mom, white. Get that? They got divorced when I was 11. Mom gets remarried. She remarries a white dude. His name is Everett. He's my stepdad to this day. So I guess they've been together 30 plus years. So my mom remarries my Virginia country singing mother, marries Everett, who Everett was a rock and roll guy working at the local bowling alley, a place called Starlight Lanes, right? So my mom meets him. They start dating. They ultimately get married, and she lives in Greenlaw Garden Apartments, apartment 28. Now, on the other side, my dad, black dude, Motown, gospel music, roller skating champion of the world, basketball player for the Army for 13 years. My dad, my deep black dad, gets remarried, and he marries a black woman. And she was a track star, had 4 kids of her own, right? Real deal black woman. So they get married, and they move into apartment 30. Same apartment complex, 2600 East 7th Avenue. Apartment 28, my mom and her new rock and roll husband. 2600 East 7th Avenue. Apartment number 30, my dad and his new track star wife. Now, what happened in these apartments is everything that you could probably think and imagine, and probably don't want to say out loud. Right? But like, dad's house was stereotypical African American house. We played lots of sports. There was lots of dancing. It was super loud over at dad's house all the time. Me, my sister, plus her, my stepmom's 4 kids, plus they had 2 more kids to themselves. So we're talking 8 kids in a 3-bedroom apartment, television in every room, right? Going to the Baptist church, like all of those stereotypes that you could think of. Collard greens, chitlins, Kool-Aid, fried chicken, you name it, right? Think of a stereotype. It existed over at mom's. 2 doors down, country music, rock and roll. My mom was a book reader, so she'd read lots of books, and the house was much more quiet, right? Much more quiet, because it was just me, my sister, my stepdad, and my mom. So there was 4 of us in a 3-bedroom apartment versus 10 of us in a 3-bedroom bedroom apartment over at Dad's. And so I grew up between these two places, and Dad liked to do things like basketball and roller skate and those types of things. And Mom, of course, liked to do things like hang out at the bowling alley. The local bowling alley was the spot. There was this bar that my parents hung out at often. My sister and I hung out at often. We would sleep in the booth some nights if my mom was having a good old time with her new fresh beau, right? They'd hang out in the bowling alley. And in the bowling alley, we met, an incredible range of characters, right? There was all types of different people that hung out at the bowling alley. Flagstaff, Arizona is caught in the corner of 4 different Indian reservations. So you have the Hopi Reservation, the Navajo Reservation, the Cherokee Reservation, and the Apache Reservation. They all converge right there on Flagstaff, Arizona. So you had a lot of Native Americans that would hang out at the bowling alley. And then, of course, you had different, like Hispanics, a lot of Hispanics in Arizona. So we had a lot of Hispanics that hung out at the bowling alley. And then we had some wonderful, wonderful people like Robin Ferguson. Robin Ferguson was like my second mama, right? She was my second mom, and I love her dearly. Regretfully, she passed away here in the last couple weeks. She fought brain cancer and regretfully passed away, but Robin Ferguson became my second mom. So I just want to make sure that you have the whole picture of what it looked like. Mom with her new beau, hanging out at a bowling alley, listening to country music and rock and roll. Dad with his new bride, right? Making more babies, living cramped up in an apartment, listening to a bunch of hip hop music and everything in between, right? Now, I grew up in between these two cultures. I grew up popping from apartment 28 to apartment 30 and back and forth. Like, Mom would send us every other weekend. She'd say, pack your bags, you're going to your dad's. We're like, Mom, it's 2 doors over. We don't have a bed over there. We have a bed here. She's like, I don't care. 5 o'clock on Friday till 5 o'clock on Sunday. You take your little backpack and you walk 2 doors down over to your daddy's house, right? So I grew up in these two cultures. And I got to tell you, it gave me some major identity issues when I was young. Major identity issues. My skin was too dark to be white, and my skin was too light to be black. I did not know where I fit in. In kindergarten or first grade, maybe it was third grade, in elementary school, they did this book fair where they were giving away free books to kids of Indian descent or African American descent. I don't remember what it was. Yeah, kids of Indian descent. And they put me in the line and they gave me a bunch of free books from this book fair. And then they came back later and took all the books back. And we're like, oh, sorry, that was for Indians only. You're not Indian. I'm like, oh my gosh, right? This happened when I was a little kid. When I was around the Hispanics, they thought I was Hispanic. Like, I had so many identity issues when I was young. I did not know who I was. And because I didn't know who I was, I ended up trying to be a little bit of who everyone else was, following the wrong crowds, hanging out with the wrong people, going down the wrong streets, making poor choices. And those choices led me to in and out of jail, in and out of getting into trouble, right? Like guns pointed at my head in multiple occasions. It was awful not knowing whose I was or who I was. Now, I think some of you might be able to identify with that. Maybe you can't identify with growing up in a white house and a black house at the same time. Maybe you can't identify with some of the stereotypes of my black cultural family. Maybe you can't identify with some of the stereotypes of my white cultural family, but you might be able to identify with this loss of identity, not knowing who you are, where you fit in, what you're supposed to do with your life. That might just resonate with you. And that's why I wanted to talk through this week, because I learned so many things during this experience of popping back and forth that now looking back, I can appreciate. But at the time I was like you and I was lost. I struggled a lot. But what I've learned now is so interesting. I now have the ability to put myself in other people's shoes in a way that most people can't. I'm able to see things from different perspectives in a way that most people can't. And here's why. There's a famous quote by Anais Nin, and it says, "We do not see things as they are. We see things as we are." We do not see things as they are. We see things as we are. And I think that that is such a powerful message that the world needs to hear. Because so much right now, so everybody's trying to be right, not understanding that you can be right without someone else being wrong. We do not see things as they are. We see things as we are. There is so much beauty in the blended. There's so much beauty when we start to actually take the time to identify each other's differences and try to put ourselves in each other's shoes. You start to see it. I've been blessed with this. I get to look at my blonde-haired, sea green, blue-eyed little girl and know that she is the sum. She is the sum of all things blended. She's mixed. She's the best of both worlds. You see, friends, one thing that I discovered through this journey that I want you to take away is if you at any point are having any identity issues, or if you at any point don't necessarily feel that you fit in, or if you at any point maybe are like, I don't understand that other person's point of view. Why don't they see what I see? Why don't they think like I think? Why don't they believe what I believe? I want you to understand something. If you really want to know who you are, then get around some people that don't look like you. Start having conversations with people that don't look like you. We want to change this world. We want to make the world a better place. It's simple. It's really, really simple. Get around people that don't look like you if you really want to know who you are. I'm going to say that one more time slower. Listen, I'm getting excited about this whole series. Get around people that don't look like you if you truly want to know who you are. Well, Glenn, what does that mean? See, you can't see what you can't see. You don't know what you don't know. You don't know what you don't know. See, I've been put in this incredible position. Like, I'll give you an example, and y'all can get mad if you want. When I see Black Lives Matter, I cringe. Because I can understand how someone that's not black might feel when they read that. When I see a sign that says all lives matter, I cringe. Because I can understand how my African American ancestors, my friends, my siblings, my family can feel when they see a sign like that. You see? Everybody's so busy trying to be right. And what everybody needs to do is understand that in order to truly know who you are, you have to get around people that don't look like you, people that don't think like you, people that don't talk like you, because then that allows you to step to the side and go, wait, I see it through your eyes. And that perspective is when everything becomes beautiful. Listen, I've gone way over today, and I apologize. We're going to be jacked up. Come back tomorrow. There's going to be a lot more of this. If you need more videos like this, you can go to glennlundy.com. We got tons of them up there. If you want to come hang out over on Clubhouse, we're going to chat for I'll be over on Clubhouse for another 20 minutes or so. We're going to chat more about this Oreo concept, right? And the beauty in the blended. We're going to talk more about that over on Clubhouse. And then if you want to go real deep, you can join Rise and Grind Elite. Go to riseandgrindelite.com. That is our elite mastermind. I'll be doing that at 6:30 today. That's like a full-on Zoom call. We can ask questions, so on and so forth. However you want to connect, let's connect, all right? Let's connect. Please, let's connect. Because together, I know how strong we can be. Listen, I believe that you, Justine, you, Michael Guthrie, you, Andy Pratt, you, Rodney Rock Hatfield, you, James Gavin, you, Dr. Sharice, you, Blazing Maderick, you, Stephanie Paisley. I believe that you, Rosemary, and you, L.A., and you, Rob, and you, Roger, and you, Annette, and you, Van Ness, and you, Bonnie. I believe that you are all like me, children of God, the God of the universe, the God that made everything. And what we look like on the outside ultimately doesn't matter. However, it does impact and change our experiences here on this earth. And that's why it's so important that we become the best versions of ourselves that we can possibly be, so that we can go out and make an impact in other people's lives. When we can stand strong, when we can stand tall, when we know whose we are as well as who we are, we can now go out and really make a positive impact in other people's lives. And that's what it's all about, my friends. That's what it's all about. Listen, I love you. If nobody's told you that yet today, I want to be the first. I absolutely stinking love you. So get out there, have an amazing day, and then I'll see you tomorrow. We'll do it all over again, 5:30 a.m. here on hashtag Rise and Grind. See ya.
Stay woke, stay woke, stay woke, stay woke. Hashtag Rise and Grind, hashtag Rise and Grind. First thing on my mind, early in the morning time. Daily motivation, feeling so divine. Waking up the nation, hashtag Rise and Grind. Hashtag Rise and Grind, grind, 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 grind. Hashtag Rise and Grind. First thing on my mind, early in the morning time. Daily motivation, feeling so divine. Waking up the nation, hashtag Rise and Grind. Hashtag Rise and Grind. Don't stop, get it, get it. Hashtag Rise and Grind. Don't stop, get it, get it. Waking up the nation, hashtag Rise and Grind. Waking up the nation, hashtag Rise and Grind. Good morning. On my feet before the sunrise. Stepped into my greatness, feeling powerful and energized. Thankful to be alive. Hashtag blessed. Write my mission, vision, values, and my gratitude list. I'm building up momentum. I'm making good decisions. I rise, I grind, I get it. Ain't no doubt that I'm committed. Cause who really loses if I don't win? Can't cheat the grind, only get what you put in. So I'm mastering my mentals. I'm focused on my physical. I'm developing spiritually and manifesting miracles. I'm gonna get it started, have a party in the morning, and I'ma wake the world. It's so alarming. I hashtag Rise and Grind, hashtag Rise and Grind. First thing on